I stood frozen in the doorway staring at the living room wall. Every single photo that once had me in it was gone. My eyes moved across the mantel, the bookshelf, the side tables. Nothing. Then I saw it. The family photo from my high school graduation. My face was literally cut out. Jagged scissor marks circled where I used to stand between Dad and her. She didn't even try to hide it. The empty space where my smile had been now showed the wallpaper behind the frame. What the hell is this? I asked, my voice shaking. My stepmother, Diana, turned from the kitchen counter. She held a coffee mug in both hands, steam rising past her perfectly made-up face. She smiled. Not a warm smile. Not even a fake one. Just cold satisfaction. "Oh, that," she said casually. "I was redecorating. Fresh start, you know." My heart pounded. Dad had been gone for 3 weeks. 3 weeks and she was already erasing me. I looked around the room again, searching for any trace of my existence. Baby photos, gone. Christmas mornings, gone. Even the picture of me and Dad at the lake, gone. That's when I realized something terrifying. She hadn't just decided to do this. She had been planning it for years. Diana set her mug down gently on the marble counter. She crossed her arms and tilted her head, like she was explaining something simple to a child. "Look, sweetheart," she said, voice dripping with fake kindness. "Your dad's gone now. You've got your own life, your own apartment in the city. This house, it's not really yours anymore." I felt my chest tighten. The way she said "yours anymore" made me feel like a ghost. Like I never belonged here at all. This was the house I grew up in. The house where Dad taught me to ride a bike in the driveway. The house where Mom used to bake cookies every Sunday before she passed. "This is my home," I said quietly. She laughed. Actually laughed. "Was your home, Callie?" Past tense. I stood there numb as she picked up her mug and walked past me toward the stairs. She paused at the bottom step and glanced back. "You should probably take whatever's left of your things. I'm clearing out the guest room next week." The guest room. That used to be my bedroom. I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab those photos and demand answers. But something stopped me. A memory. Dad's voice just weeks before he died, telling me something strange. Something I didn't understand at the time. Now I was starting to. Before we continue, I would like to know where you're watching from in the comment section. Also hit the subscribe button and share this video, as this will help this video to travel far so others can learn also. My name is Callie Brennan. I was 9 years old when Diana married my dad. I remember the wedding clearly. White roses everywhere, a cake taller than me, and Diana in a dress that sparkled like diamonds. Everyone said she was beautiful. Everyone said Dad was lucky. But I saw something else. I saw the way she looked at me when no one was watching. Like I was a problem she needed to solve. Mom had died 2 years before that. Cancer. It happened fast. One day she was tired, the next day she was in the hospital, and then she was gone. Dad was destroyed. He threw himself into work, barely spoke, barely ate. Then Diana showed up. She worked at his company, always volunteering to help, always smiling. She made him laugh again. I should have been grateful. But I wasn't. Because the moment that ring went on her finger, everything changed. At first it was small things. She'd forget to pack my lunch. She'd buy new furniture and throw out Mom's old chair, the one I used to curl up in. She'd plan family dinners and forget to include me. "I never wanted a daughter," she whispered one night when she thought I was asleep. "Especially not someone else's." I was 11. I never forgot those words. As I drove away from the house that day, my hands gripped the steering wheel so tight my knuckles turned white. I kept replaying everything in my head. The missing photos. Her smile. Her words. And then another memory surfaced. One I had buried. It was 3 weeks before Dad died. He was sitting in his study looking tired and pale. The cancer had spread fast just like it did with Mom. He knew he didn't have much time. I sat across from him trying not to cry. "Callie," he said slowly, his voice rough. "If anything ever happens to me, check the crawl space." I frowned. "The crawl space?" He nodded. "Left side. Near the water heater. There's something there. Something important." "Dad, you're scaring me." He reached out and squeezed my hand. His skin was cold. "Just promise me. If things get bad, if she tries anything, you go there first." "She? You mean Diana?" He didn't answer. Just looked at me with those tired, sad eyes. At the time I thought he was confused. The medication made him say strange things sometimes. But now, standing in my tiny apartment staring at the wall, I realized something. Dad wasn't confused. He knew exactly what he was saying. He knew what Diana was capable of. And he left me a way to fight back. 2 days later, I sat in a lawyer's office downtown. The room smelled like old books and leather. Mr. Hewitt, Dad's lawyer, sat across from me with a folder in front of him. He looked uncomfortable. "I'm sorry for your loss, Callie," he said. "Thank you." He opened the folder and pulled out a stack of papers. "I wanted to go over your father's will with you." I leaned forward. "Okay." He cleared his throat. "It seems your father left everything to his wife, Diana Brennan. The house, the savings accounts, the investments, all of it goes to her." I blinked. "What?" "I'm sorry. I know this must be difficult." "No," I said, shaking my head. "That's not right. Dad told me he had a plan. He promised he'd take care of me." Mr. Hewitt looked down at the papers. "According to this will dated 6 months ago, everything is left to Diana. There's no mention of you." 2 days later, I sat in a lawyer's office downtown. The room smelled like old books and leather. Mr. Hewitt, Dad's lawyer, sat across from me with a folder in front of him. He looked uncomfortable. "I'm sorry for your loss, Callie," he said. "Thank you." He opened the folder and pulled out a stack of papers. "I wanted to go over your father's will with you." I leaned forward. "Okay." He cleared his throat. "It seems your father left everything to his wife, Diana Brennan. The house, the savings accounts, the investments, all of it goes to her." I blinked. "What?" "I'm sorry. I know this must be difficult." "No," I said, shaking my head. "That's not right. Dad told me he had a plan. He promised he'd take care of me." Mr. Hewitt looked down at the papers. "According to this will dated 6 months ago, everything is left to Diana. There's no mention of you." 2 days later, I sat in a lawyer's office downtown. The room smelled like old books and leather. Mr. Hewitt, Dad's lawyer, sat across from me with a folder in front of him. He looked uncomfortable. "I'm sorry for your loss, Callie," he said. "Thank you." He opened the folder and pulled out a stack of papers. "I wanted to go over your father's will with you." I leaned forward. "Okay." He cleared his throat. "It seems your father left everything to his wife, Diana Brennan. The house, the savings accounts, the investments, all of it goes to her." I blinked. "What?" "I'm sorry. I know this must be difficult." "No," I said, shaking my head. "That's not right. Dad told me he had a plan. He promised he'd take care of me." Mr. Hewitt looked down at the papers. "According to this will dated 6 months ago, everything is left to Diana. There's no mention of you." My stomach dropped. 6 months ago? That was right around the time Dad got his diagnosis. Right around the time Diana started acting stranger than usual. I felt dizzy. "Can I see it?" He slid the document across the desk. I read through it, my hands shaking. Everything, the house, the money, even Dad's car, went to her. My name wasn't mentioned once. Not once. But my father wasn't careless. He wasn't cruel. So where was the real will? That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what Dad said. The crawl space. Left side. Near the water heater. At 2 in the morning I grabbed my keys and drove back to the house. Diana's car wasn't in the driveway. She was probably out with her friends celebrating her new fortune. I used my old key. Thankfully she hadn't changed the locks yet. The house was dark and silent. I moved quickly, heading straight for the basement door. My heart pounded as I descended the creaky wooden steps. The crawlspace entrance was a small door near the back wall. I hadn't been down here in years. I pulled the door open and crawled inside, flashlight clenched between my teeth. It smelled like dust and mildew. I crawled toward the left side, sweeping the flashlight beam across the dirt floor. Then I saw it. Behind a section of old insulation, there was a metal lockbox wrapped in plastic and duct tape. I pulled it free and crawled back out. My hands were shaking as I peeled away the tape. Inside were photos. Old pictures of me and Dad, letters in his handwriting, and a small USB drive. I plugged the drive into my phone. A video file appeared. I pressed play. Dad's face filled the screen. He looked weak, but his eyes were sharp. "If you're watching this, Callie, she got what she wanted. But not for long." I sat on the cold basement floor, tears streaming down my face as I watched the video. Dad's voice was steady, even though his body was failing. I know what Diana is capable of, he said. I've known for a long time. I made a mistake marrying her. I thought she'd be good for us, but I was wrong. She's been waiting for me to die so she can have everything. But I'm not going to let that happen. He coughed, pausing to catch his breath. In this box you'll find the real will. The one I wrote and had notarized by my friend Martin Cross. It's dated 2 weeks ago. In it, everything goes to you, the house, the money, all of it. Diana gets nothing. My heart raced. The will the lawyer has is fake. She forged it. I know because I set a trap. I left documents around the house, watched her go through my desk when she thought I was asleep. She found the fake will I planted and swapped it with the real one. But I kept the real one safe. For you. He leaned closer to the camera. She'll fight you, Callie. She'll lie, she'll manipulate, she'll do whatever it takes. But you're stronger than her. You always have been. Use what's in this box. Prove the truth. And take back what's yours. The video ended. I sat there in the dark, holding the box, feeling something I hadn't felt in weeks. Hope. I didn't act right away. I couldn't. If Diana knew I had the real will, she'd destroy it, or worse, she'd come after me. So I played it cool. I called her the next morning and told her I was moving on. You're right, I said over the phone, forcing my voice to stay calm. This isn't my house anymore. I'm going back to the city. I'll come by next week to grab the last of my things. She sounded relieved. That's very mature of you, Callie. I'm glad we can handle this like adults. I hung up and got to work. I made copies of everything in the box. The real will, the letters, the photos. I saved the video to 3 different clouds. Then I started gathering more evidence. I called Dad's friends, his coworkers, even our old neighbors. I asked them about Diana. About her behavior. About anything strange they'd noticed. One neighbor, Mrs. Keller, told me something chilling. I saw her burning boxes in the backyard a few days after your father passed, she said. They were marked with your name. I thought it was odd, but I didn't want to pry. I thanked her and added her testimony to my growing file. Slowly, piece by piece, I was building a case. And Diana had no idea. Among the items in the lockbox was a small memory card, the kind used in digital cameras. I almost missed it. It was taped to the inside of the lid. I popped it into my laptop and waited as the files loaded. There were over 200 photos. Birthday parties where Diana wasn't there. School events she skipped. Pictures of me crying with a bruised arm. She'd shoved me down the stairs once and blamed it on me being clumsy. And then I found the audio files. I clicked on one. It was a recording from Dad's phone, dated a year ago. I could hear Diana's voice, sharp and angry. You think I'll ever love that little brat? She's not mine. She'll never be mine. Dad's voice was calm. She's my daughter, Diana. And I'm your wife. I should come first. But no, it's always Callie this, Callie that. I'm sick of it. There was a long pause. If you feel that way, maybe we made a mistake, Dad said quietly. Don't you dare threaten me, Diana hissed. I've put up with her for years. The least you can do is make sure I'm taken care of when you're gone. The recording cut off. I sat there, stunned. She'd said it. Out loud. She'd been planning this for years. Waiting for him to die so she could take everything and erase me completely. I saved every file. This was evidence. Real, undeniable evidence. One of the letters in the box mentioned a safety deposit box at First National Bank. It was listed under both Dad's and my name. I drove there the next morning and asked to access it. The bank manager checked the records and frowned. Someone tried to close this account 2 days after your father's passing, she said. But since it's a joint account, they couldn't do it without your signature. Who tried to close it? A Diana Brennan. My stomach twisted. Of course she did. The manager led me to the vault and I opened the box. Inside was a manila envelope, thick with papers. I opened it carefully. Inside were copies of financial documents. Transfers Diana had made from Dad's accounts into her own, dating back 2 years. She'd been slowly draining his money while he was sick. There was also a notarized statement from Dad's doctor, confirming that Dad was of sound mind when he signed the real will. And at the bottom of the envelope was a handwriting analysis report. Dad had hired an expert to compare his signature on the fake will to his real signature. The report was clear. The signature on the lawyer's will was forged. signed with the left hand to disguise the writer. Dad had known. He'd known everything and he'd saved the proof. I needed help. I couldn't do this alone. So I reached out to someone I trusted, Laura Finch, the assistant to Mr. Hewitt, the family lawyer. Laura had worked with Dad for years. She knew him well. I asked her to meet me at a coffee shop across town. She arrived looking nervous. "Callie, what's this about?" I slid a folder across the table. "I need you to look at something." She opened it. Inside was a copy of the Real will, the video from Dad, and the handwriting analysis. Her eyes went wide as she read through everything. "Oh my God," she whispered. "Dad trusted you," I said. "He told me that once. He said if anything ever felt wrong I should talk to you." Laura looked up at me, her face pale. "He gave me a sealed envelope 3 months ago. He told me not to open it unless something felt off about his estate." My heart raced. "Do you still have it?" She nodded. "It's in my desk at the office." We drove there together. Laura unlocked her desk drawer and pulled out a thick envelope with Dad's handwriting on the front. "To be opened only if my will is contested or if Callie asks." She opened it carefully. Inside were duplicates of everything I'd found, plus a signed affidavit from Dad, explaining that Diana had been manipulating him and that he feared she would forge documents after his death. Laura stared at the papers, her hands shaking. "This changes everything. Will you help me?" I asked. She looked at me with fierce determination. "Absolutely." I decided to visit the house one more time. I needed to see Diana's reaction. I needed to test her. So I showed up unannounced on a Saturday morning, smiling and polite. Diana opened the door, surprised. "Callie? I thought you were coming next week." "I was nearby," I said casually. "Thought I'd stop by and grab a few things from the garage." She hesitated, then stepped aside. "Sure. Go ahead." I walked through the house slowly, taking in every detail. She'd already redecorated. New curtains, new furniture, new paint. It didn't even look like the same place. I made my way to the garage, pretending to look through old boxes. Then I said it. "Hey Diana, did Dad ever mention anything about the crawl space?" Her whole body went rigid. I watched her face carefully. Her smile faltered. Her hands holding a dish towel started to shake. "The crawl space," she repeated, voice tight. "Yeah. I was just wondering if there's anything stored down there I should grab." He forced a laugh. "Oh no. Just old junk. Boxes of your father's work stuff. Nothing important." But her eyes told a different story. She was terrified. She didn't know how much I knew, but she knew something was wrong. I smiled sweetly. "Hey. Just thought I'd check." As I left, I saw her standing in the window watching me drive away. Her mask was starting to crack. A week later, I attended a small memorial gathering for Dad at the community center. Some of his old friends and coworkers came to share stories. I stayed quiet, listening, observing. That's when Mr. Davison, one of Dad's closest friends, approached me. He'd had a few drinks and his face was flushed. "Your dad was a smart man, Callie," he said, leaning in close. "Smartest man I knew." "Thank you." He lowered his voice. "He told me something before he passed. Said if anything ever happened to him you'd know what to do. Said you were tougher than people thought." I felt a chill run down my spine. "He said that?" "Yeah. He also said if Diana ever tried anything you'd handle it. He believed in you." Across the room I saw Diana watching us. Her face had gone pale. She'd heard. Or at least she'd seen enough to make her panic. She excused herself from her conversation and walked quickly toward the exit. I watched her hands tremble as she pushed the door open. Mr. Davison patted my shoulder. "Don't let her win, kid." "I won't," I promised. That night I made a decision. It was time to make the next move. I didn't want to reveal myself too quickly, so I did something clever. I sent an anonymous email to the probate court, flagging inconsistencies in Dad's will. I didn't sign my name. I didn't include the evidence yet. I just planted a seed. There are concerns regarding the validity of the will submitted for Robert Brennan. The signature appears inconsistent with known samples, and the timeline of the document's creation is suspicious. A formal investigation is recommended. 2 days later I got a call from Mr. Hewitt's office. The court had ordered a review of the will. An investigation was being opened. Diana would be notified. I smiled. The trap was set. That evening I drove past the house. I saw lights on in every room. Diana's car was in the driveway along with another car I didn't recognize. I parked down the street and waited. An hour later, a man in a suit left the house looking angry. A lawyer maybe. Or someone she'd hired to help her cover her tracks. But it was too late. The wheels were already in motion. And she had no idea I was the one pushing them. A few nights later, I was sitting in my apartment when my phone buzzed. It was Mrs. Keller, the neighbor. "Callie, I don't know if this matters, but I just saw Diana in the garage. She was on the phone yelling at someone. I've never seen her so upset." "What was she saying?" "Something about signatures and how someone promised her it would be fine. She kept saying, 'You told me it was airtight.' Over and over." I thanked Mrs. Keller and hung up. My heart was racing. Diana was panicking. She knew the investigation was closing in, and she was turning on whoever helped her forge the will. I grabbed my jacket and drove to the house. I parked across the street hidden by trees and watched. Through the garage window I could see her pacing, phone pressed to her ear. Even from a distance I could see her face, red, twisted with anger and fear. She was unraveling. Then she saw me. I don't know how, but she turned toward the street and our eyes met. She froze. I didn't move. Just stared. After a long moment she dropped the phone and stumbled back into the house, slamming the door behind her. I drove away smiling. She was terrified. And she should be. Laura Finch called me the next morning. Her voice was hushed, excited. "Callie, I did something." "What?" "I went to the Bar Association. I brought copies of everything. The real will, the handwriting analysis, the affidavit. I filed a formal complaint against the probate process." My heart skipped. "You did?" "I couldn't just sit on this. Your dad trusted me. I owe it to him and to you. The association is taking it seriously. They're opening an official inquiry." I felt tears prick my eyes. "Thank you, Laura. We're going to win this," she said firmly. "I promise." Over the next few days things moved quickly. The court requested original documents. They called in a handwriting expert. They scheduled a hearing. And through it all I stayed quiet. I played the role of the grieving daughter, soft-spoken and polite. No one suspected I was the one pulling the strings. Diana, on the other hand, was falling apart. I heard from mutual acquaintances that she'd been calling lawyers, demanding answers, threatening lawsuits. But no one wanted to touch her case. The evidence was too strong. Diana reached out to me. She invited me to the house for closure. I agreed. I brought nothing but a small USB drive in my pocket. When I arrived, she was waiting in the living room trying to look calm. But I could see the tension in her jaw, the dark circles under her eyes. "Callie," she said, forcing a smile. "I'm glad you came. I think we need to talk." "Okay." She sat down, gesturing for me to do the same. "This whole situation has gotten out of hand. The court, the investigation. It's all a misunderstanding. Your father left me the estate because he wanted me taken care of. You have to understand that." I nodded slowly. "I see. So I'm asking you as family to drop this. Let's move on. I'll make sure you get something, a small amount, maybe some of his personal items. But we need to end this." I pulled the USB drive from my pocket and slid it across the coffee table. "What's this?" she asked. "Something you should watch." Her face went white. Her hands trembled as she picked up the drive. "What is this, Callie?" "Just watch it." She plugged it into the TV. Dad's face appeared on the screen. His voice filled the room. "If she's watching this, Diana, I knew everything. And Callie knows now too." Diana's face crumpled. The mask finally shattered. The probate hearing was scheduled for the following week. The court ordered both wills to be examined by an independent handwriting expert. Laura submitted all the evidence we'd gathered. The video, the real will, the financial records, the recordings, everything. It was airtight. Diana hired a lawyer, but even he looked uncomfortable. During a pre-hearing meeting, he pulled Laura aside and told her quietly, "You know she doesn't have a case, right?" Borges smiled. "I know." On the day of the hearing, I sat in the back of the courtroom. Diana sat at the front with her lawyer, her face blank. The judge reviewed the evidence carefully. He watched the video. He examined both wills. He read the affidavit from Dad's doctor. Finally, he called the handwriting expert to the stand. "In your professional opinion," the judge asked, Are these signatures from the same person? The expert shook his head. No, Your Honor. The signature on the will submitted to probate was written with the left hand in an attempt to mimic the deceased's signature. It's a clear forgery. The courtroom went silent. Diana stared straight ahead, unmoving. The judge looked at her. Mrs. Brennan, do you have anything to say? She didn't answer. Her lawyer whispered something to her, but she just shook her head. She had nothing left. The judge's ruling came swiftly. The forged will was thrown out. The real will, the one Dad had hidden in the crawlspace, was validated. Everything was reversed. The house, the money, the assets, all of it went to me. Diana was ordered to vacate the property within 14 days. He tried to appeal. She begged the court for mercy, claiming she'd given up everything to care for my father. But the judge wasn't swayed. Mrs. Brennan, he said coldly, you didn't just lie to this court. You betrayed a dying man's trust. You forged legal documents and attempted to defraud his daughter. You will leave the premises immediately, and if you attempt to remove any property that doesn't belong to you, you will be held in contempt. Diana's face was pale as stone. She stood slowly, her lawyer guiding her out of the courtroom. As she passed me, she stopped. For a moment I thought she might say something, apologize, beg, threaten. But she didn't. She just stared at me with empty eyes, then walked away. I watched her go, feeling nothing but relief. Outside the courthouse, Laura hugged me tight. You did it, she whispered. No, I said. Dad did it. I just finished what he started. Over the next 2 weeks, I returned to the house to oversee Diana's removal. She moved quietly, packing her things into a small moving truck. She didn't speak to me. Didn't even look at me. She was a ghost now, erased from the life she tried to steal. On the last day, as she carried the final box to her car, I found something in the attic. A small wooden box hidden behind old Christmas decorations. Inside was a letter, addressed to me in Dad's handwriting. My hands shook as I opened it. Callie, if you're reading this, it means you found the truth. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you while I was alive. I was weak. I was scared. But I knew you were strong. Stronger than me. Stronger than her. I'm so proud of you. Not because of what you'll inherit, but because of who you are. You're kind, smart, and brave. You're everything your mother was. Everything I wanted to be. Don't let anger consume you. Don't let her poison your heart. Take what's yours, live your life, and be happy. That's all I ever wanted for you. I love you, sweetheart. Always. Dad. I sat on the attic floor and cried. Not out of sadness but relief. Closure. He'd known I'd survive this. He believed in me. Diana didn't just lose the house. She lost everything. Word spread through Dad's social circle about what she'd done. Friends stopped calling. Her part-time teaching job at the community college quietly let her go. The people who once pitied her, who whispered, "Poor Diana, losing her husband so young," now avoided her. I didn't need to say a word. The truth did all the work. One afternoon I ran into one of her former friends at the grocery store. The woman looked uncomfortable when she saw me. "I'm so sorry, Callie," she said quietly. "We had no idea what she was really like." "It's okay," I said. "I'm just glad it's over." She nodded. "For what it's worth, your dad would be proud of you." I smiled. "I know." As I drove home I thought about Diana. About how her greed and hatred had destroyed her. She could have walked away with dignity. She could have accepted a fair share and moved on. But she wanted it all. And in trying to take everything, she lost everything. Karma, I guess. I didn't keep the house. Too many bad memories. Too much pain lingering in those walls. So I sold it. The money went into a trust. Part of it for me, part of it donated to cancer research in Mom and Dad's names. It felt right. I kept only a few things. Dad's watch. Mom's recipe book. And one photo. The family picture from my high school graduation. The one Diana had cut my face out of. I took it to a restoration shop and they repaired it, filling in the missing piece with a new print. Now when I look at it, I see all three of us. Mom's memory, Dad's love, and me standing strong between them. I hung it on the wall of my new apartment. A reminder. Not of what I lost, but of what I survived. Months passed. I built a new life. I started a job I loved, made new friends, traveled to places I'd always wanted to see. Slowly, the weight of everything lifted. I stopped looking over my shoulder. Stopped waiting for Diana to reappear. She was gone. Truly gone. One day I got a message from Laura. Thought you'd want to know. Diana moved out of state. Heard she's working retail somewhere in Arizona. I stared at the message for a long time. Part of me felt satisfaction. But mostly I just felt nothing. She didn't matter anymore. She was a chapter I'd closed. I deleted the message and went back to my life. I think about Dad a lot. About how he protected me even from beyond the grave. He couldn't stop Diana while he was alive. Maybe he was too weak, too sick, too trusting. But he made sure I'd have what I needed to fight back. He gave me the tools, the evidence, the truth. And he believed I'd be strong enough to use them. He was right. I visit his grave every few months. I bring flowers, sit on the grass and talk to him. I tell him about my life, my job, the places I've been. I tell him I'm happy. I tell him I'm okay. And I thank him. For everything. People ask me sometimes if I regret how things turned out. If I wish I'd handled it differently. The answer is no. Diana tried to erase me. She cut my face out of every photo, removed every trace of my existence and tried to steal my future. But all she did was reveal who I really am. I'm my father's daughter. I'm my mother's legacy. I'm strong, I'm resilient, and I don't need anyone's approval to know my worth. I didn't get revenge. I didn't stoop to her level. I just told the truth. And the truth set me free. Now I wake up every morning in my own space, surrounded by things I love, living a life I built. No more looking back. No more anger. No more fear. Just peace. And that photo, the one she tried to destroy, hangs on my wall whole again. A reminder that you can't erase someone who refuses to disappear. She tried to cut me out. But I'm still here.